Okay, okay. Jacob parts company with Jacob parts company with Esau. Esau said, "Let us break camp and move off. I shall go beside you." But Jacob replied, "As my Lord knows, the children are weak, and the sheep and cows which have calved make it hard for me. If they are driven too hard, even for one day, the whole drove will die. May it please my Lord to go on ahead of his servant. For my part, I shall move at a slower pace to suit the flock I am driving and the children until I join my Lord in Seir." Esau said, "At least let me give you some of the people who are with me." "What for?" Jacob asked. "Please indulge me, my lord." So that day Esau turned back towards Seir, but Jacob made his way to Succoth, where he built himself a house and made shelters for his livestock. That is why the place was given the name Succoth. Jacob arrives at Shechem. Jacob arrived safely at the town of Shechem in Canaanite territory on his return from Padan Aram. He encamped opposite the town, and for 100 pieces of silver he brought from the sons of Hamor, father of Shechem, the piece of land on which he had pitched his tent. There he erected an altar which he called El God of Israel. El God of Israel. The rape of Dinah. Dinah, who was Jacob's daughter by Leah, went out to visit some of the women of that region. Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, headman of the region, saw her, seized her, and forced her to sleep with him. He was captivated by Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He fell in love with the girl and tried to win her heart. Accordingly, Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this girl, I want to marry her." Meanwhile, Jacob had heard how his daughter Dinah had been dishonored, but since his sons were out in the countryside with his livestock, Jacob said nothing until they came back. A matrimonial alliance with the Shechemites. Hamor, father of Shechem, was visiting Jacob to discuss the matter with him when Jacob's sons returned from the countryside and heard the news. The men were outraged and infuriated that Shechem had insulted Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, a thing totally unacceptable. Hamor reasoned with them as follows: "My son Shechem's heart is set on your daughter. Please allow her to marry him. And to marry with us and give us your daughters and take our daughters for yourselves. We can live together and the country will be open to you for you to live in and move about in and acquire holdings." Then Shechem addressed the girl's father and brothers. "Grant me this favor and I will give you whatever you ask. Demand as high a bride price for me as you please, and I will pay as much as you ask. Only let me marry the girl." Jacob's sons gave Shechem and his father Hamor a crafty answer, speaking as they did because he had dishonored their sister Dinah. "We cannot do this," they said to them. "To give our sister to an uncircumcised man would be a disgrace for us. We can agree only on one condition, that you become like us by circumcising all of your males. Then we would give you our daughters, taking yours for ourselves, and we will stay with you to make one nation. But if you not agree to our terms about being circumcised, we shall take our daughter and go." Hamor and Shechem, son of Hamor, were pleased with what they heard. The young men did not hesitate about doing this, for he was deeply in love with Jacob's daughter. Moreover, he was the most respected member of his entire family. Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their town and spoke to their fellow townsmen as follows: "These men are friendly. Let them settle in the region and move about freely. There is plenty of room for them here. We shall marry their daughters and give our daughters to them. But these men will agree to settle with us and become a single nation only on this condition, that all of our males be circumcised like them. Will not the livestock they own, all their animals, become ours? Then let us give our assent to this, so they can settle with us. All the citizens of the town agreed to the proposal made by Hamor and his son Shechem, and all the males were circumcised. The treacherous revenge of Simeon and Levi. Now on the third day, when the men were still in pain, Jacob's two sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took his sword and advanced unopposed against the town and slaughtered all the males. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the sword, removed Dinah from Shechem's house, and came away. When Jacob's other sons came on the slain, they pillaged the town in reprisal for the dishonoring of their sister. They seized their flocks, cattle, donkeys, everything else in the town and in the countryside, and all their possessions. They took all their children and wives captive and looted everything to be found in the houses. Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have done me an ill turn by bringing me into order with the people of the region, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. I have few men, whereas they will unite against me to defeat me and destroy me and my family." They retorted, "Should our sister be treated like a whore?" Jacob at Bethel. God said to Jacob, "Move on, go to Bethel and settle there. Make an altar there for the God who appeared to you when you were fleeing from your brother Esau." Jacob said to his family and to all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods you have with you. Cleanse yourselves and change your clothes. We must move on and go to Bethel. There I shall make an altar for the God who heard me when I was in distress and gave me his help on the journey I made." They gave Jacob all the foreign gods and their possession and the earrings that they were wearing. Jacob buried them under the oak tree near Shechem. They broke camp. A divine terror struck the towns round about, and no one pursued the sons of Jacob. When Jacob arrived at Luz in Canaan, that is, Bethel, all the people with him, he built an altar there and named the place El Bethel, since it was there that God had appeared to him where he was fleeing from his brother. Deborah, who had been Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried below Bethel under the oak tree, so they named it the Oak of Tears. God again appeared to Jacob on his return from Padam Aram and blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob, but from now on you will be called not Jacob, but Israel." Thus he came by the name Israel. God said to him, "I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation indeed, an assembly of nations will descend from you, and kings will issue you from your loins. The country which I give to Abraham and Isaac I now give to you, and this country I shall give to your descendants after you." Then God went up from him. Jacob raised a monument at the spot where he had spoken to him, a standing stone, on which he made a libation and poured oil. Jacob named the place Bethel, where God had spoken to him. The birth of Benjamin and death of Rachel. They left Bethel, and while they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel went into labor, and her pains were severe. When her labor was at its hardest, the midwife said to her, "Do not worry, this is going to be another boy." At the moment when she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named him Ben Oni. His father, however, named him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the road to Ephrath, now Bethlehem. Jacob raised a monument on her grave, that same monument of Rachel's tomb, which is there today. Reuben's incest. Israel left and pitched his tent beyond Migdal Eder. While Israel was living in the district, Reuben went and slept with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel found out. The 12 sons of Jacob. The sons of Jacob were now 12. The sons of Leah, Jacob's eldest son Reuben, then Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's slave girl, Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Zilpah, Leah's girl, slave girl, Gad and Asher. These were the sons born to Jacob in Padan Aram, the death of Isaac. Jacob came home to his father Isaac at Mamre, at Kiriath Arba, now Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had stayed. Isaac was 180 years old when he breathed his last. He died and was gathered to his people, an old man who had enjoyed his full span of life. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Esau's wives and children in Canaan. These are the descendants of Esau. This is Edom. That is Edom. Esau chose his wives from the women of Canaan: Adab, daughter of Elon the Hittite; Oholibamah, daughter of Anah, son of Zibeon the Horite; Basemath, daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. Adab bore Eliphaz to Esau. Basemath bore Ruel. Oholibamah bore Jush, Jalam, and Korah. These were the two sons of Esau born to him in Canaan. Esau's migration. Esau took his wives, his sons and daughters, all the members of his household, his livestock, all his cattle, and all the goods he had acquired in Canaan, and left for Seir, away from his brother Jacob, for they had acquired too much to live together. The land in which they were at one time could not support them because of their livestock. That is why Edom settled in the mountainous region of Seir. Esau is Edom. Esau's descendants in Seir. These are the descendants of Esau, ancestor of Edom, in the mountainous region of Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of Esau's wife Adah, and Ruel, son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Eliphaz, son of Asa, had Timnah for concubine, and she bore him Amalek. These were the sons of Esau's wife Adah. These were the sons of Ruel: Nahath, Zerah, Shema, Miza. These were the sons of Esau's wife Basemath. And these were the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah, daughter of Anah, son of Zibeon. She bore Jush, Jalam, and Korah, the chieftains of Edom. These are the chieftains of Esau, the descendants of Eliphaz, Esau's eldest son, the chieftains of Taman, Omar, Sephul, Kenaz, Gatam, and Amalek. These are the chieftains of Eliphaz and Edom and are descended from Ada. The descendants of Esau's son Real, the chieftains of Nahath, Zerah, and Shammah, and Miza. These are the chieftains of Real and Edom, and are descended from Esau's wife Basemath. The descendants of Esau's wife Oholibamah, Lib- Labama, the chieftains of Jush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the chieftain of Esau's wife, Oholibamah, daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Esau, that is, Edom. These are their chieftains. The descendants of Seir the Horite. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, natives of the country: Lotan, Shabal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishan, Ezer, Dishan. These were the Horite chieftains descended from Seir and Edom. The sons of Lotan were Hori and Hammam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. These are the sons of Shabal: Alvan, Manahath, Abal, Shepho, and Onam. These are the sons of Zibeon: I, Aya, Hana, the Ana who found the hot springs in the desert while pasteurizing his father Zibeon's donkeys. These are the children of Ana: Dishan and Oholibamah, daughter of Ana. These are the sons of Dishan: Hebdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Shiran. These are the sons of Ezer: Bilhan, Zavan, and Akan. These are the sons of Dishan, Uz, and Aran. These are the Horite chieftains, the chieftains of Latan, Shobal, Zibeon, Ana, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chieftains of the Horites by their clans in Seir. The kings of Edom. These are the kings who reigned in Edom before an Israelite king. In Edom reigned Bela, son of Beor. His city was called Dinhabah. Bela died, and Jobah, son of Zerah, from Bozrah succeeded. Jobab died, and Husham from the land of the Temanites succeeded. Husham died, and Hadad, son of Bedad, succeeded. He defeated the Midianites in Moab, and his city was called Avith. Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah succeeded. Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth ha-Nahar succeeded. Shaul died, and Baal-Hanan, son of Akbar, succeeded. Baal-Hanan died, and Hadad succeeded. His city was called Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, daughter of Matred, from Mezahab, more chieftains of Edom. These are the names of the chieftains of Esau, according to their clans and localites. The chieftains of Timnah, Alva, Jeheth, Oholibamah, Elah, Hanan, Kanaz, Taman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Aram. These are the chieftains of Edom, as settled in the territory which they own. Esau was Edom's ancestor. But Jacob settled in the land where his father had stayed, the land of Canaan. The story of Joseph. Joseph and his brothers. This is the story of Joseph. Joseph was 17 years old. As he was young, he was shepherding the flock with his brothers, with the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. Joseph brought his father bad reports about them. Jacob loved Joseph more than all his sons, for he was the son of his old age, and he had a decorated tunic made for him. But his brothers, seeing how much more his father loved him than all his sons, came to hate him so much that they could not say a civil word to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and he repeated it to his brothers, who then hated him more than ever. Listen, he said, to the dream I had. We were binding sheaves in the field, when my sheaf suddenly rose and stood upright, and then your sheaves gathered round and bowed to my sheaf. So you want to be king over us? His brothers retorted. You want to lord it over us? And they hated him even more. On account of his dream and of what he said, he had another dream which he recounted to his brothers. Look, I had another dream. There were the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to me. He told his father and his brothers, and his father scolded him. A fine dream to have, he said to him. The ground before you. His brothers held it against him, but his father pondered the matter. Joseph sold by his brothers. His brothers went to pasture their father's flock at Shechem. Then Israel said to Joseph, your brothers are with the flock at Shechem, aren't they? Come, I am going to send you to them. I am ready, he replied. He said to them, go and see how your brothers and the flock are doing, and bring me word. He sent him from the valley of Hebron, and Joseph arrived at Shechem. Man found him wandering in the countryside and asked him, what are you looking for? I am looking for my brothers, your blood. Please tell me where they are pasturing their flock. The man answered, They have moved on from here. Indeed, I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. They saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they made a plot to kill him. Here comes that dreamer, they said to one another. Come, let us kill him now and throw him down one of the storage wells. We can say that some wild animals had devoured him. Then we shall see what dreams becomes of his dreams. When Reuben heard, and he saved him from their clutches. We must not take his life, he said. Shed no blood, said Reuben to them. Throw him down that well out in the desert, but do not kill him yourselves, intending to save him from them and to restore him to his father. So when Joseph reached his brothers, and pulled off his they pulled off his tunic, the decorated tunic which he was wearing, and catching hold of him, threw him into the well. The well was empty with no water in it. They then sat down to eat. Looking up, they saw a group of Ishmaelites who were coming from Gilead, their camels laden with gum, tragath, balsam, and resin, which they were taking to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, What do we gain by killing our brother and covering up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. Then we shall not have his hands laid on him ourselves. After all, he is our brother and our own flesh. His brothers agreed. Now some Midianite merchants were passing, and they pulled Joseph out of the well. They sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver, and these men took Joseph to Egypt. When Reuben went back to the well, there was no sign of Joseph. Tearing his clothes, he went back to his brothers. The boy has gone, he said. What am I going to do? They took Joseph's tunic, slaughtered a goat, dripped the tunic in the blood. Then they sent off the decorated tunic and had it taken to their father with a message. This is what we have found. Do you recognize it as your son's tunic or not? He recognized it and cried, My son's tunic. A wild animal had devoured him. Joseph had been torn to pieces, tearing his clothes and putting sackcloth around his waist. Jacob mourned his son for many days. All his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. No, I will go down to Sheol in the morning and join my son. Thus his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials and commander of the guard. The story of Judah and Tamar. Tamar. It happened at the same time that Judah left his brothers to go down and settle with a certain Adullamite called Hira. There, Judah saw the daughter of a Canaanite called Shua. He made his daughter, he made her his wife and slept with her. She conceived and gave birth to a son who she named She conceived again and gave birth to a son whom she named Onan. Yet again she gave birth to a son whom she named Shelah. She was at Shizib when she gave birth to him. Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, offended Yahweh, and Yahweh killed him. Then Judah said to Onan, Take your brother's wife and do your duty as her brother-in-law to maintain your brother's line. But Onan knowing that the line would not count as his, split his seed on the ground every time he slept with his brother's wife, to avoid providing offspring for his brother. What he did was offensive to Yahweh, who killed him too. Then Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, Go home as widow to your father until my son Shelah grows up. For he was thinking, He must not die like his brothers. So Tamar went home to her father. A long time passed, and then Shua's daughter and the wife of Judah died. After Judah had been comforted, he went up to Timnah for the shearing of his sheep. He and his friend Hira the Adullamite. When Tamar was told, Look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah for the shearing of his sheep, she changed out her widow's clothes, wrapped a veil around her to disguise herself and sat at the entrance to Anaim, which is on the way to Timnah, for she saw that although Shiloh was grown up, she had not given to him she had not been given to him as his wife. Judah seeing her took her for a prostitute, since her face was veiled. Going up to her on the road, he said, "Here, let me sleep with you." He did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. "What will you give me for sleeping with you?" she asked. "I will send you a kid from the flock," he said. "Agreed, if you give me a pledge until you send it." She replied, "What pledge shall I give you?" he asked. "Your seal and cord and the staff you are holding," she replied. He gave them to her and slept with her, and she conceived by him. Then she got up and left him, taking off her veil, resumed her widow's weeds. Judah sent the kid by his friend the Adullamite to recover the pledge from the wind, but he did not find her. He inquired from the man at the place, "Where's the prostitute who was by the roadside at Anaim?" There has been no prostitute there," they answered. So returning to Judah, he said, "I did not find her. What is more, the men of the place told me that there had been no prostitute there." "Let her keep the things," Judah said, "or we shall become a laughing stock. At least I sent her this kid, even though you did not find her." About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Your daughter-in-law has played the harlot. Furthermore, she is pregnant as a result of her misconduct. Bring her out," Judah ordered, "and let her be burnt alive." But as she was being led off, she sent words to her father-in-law. "It was the owner of those who made me pregnant. Please verify," she said. "Whose seal and cord and staff were these?" Judah recognized them and said, "She was right and I was wrong. Since I did not give her to my son Shelah, he had no further intercourse with her." When the time for her confinement came, there were twins in her womb. During delivery, one of them put out a hand, and the midwife caught it and tied a scarlet thread to it, indicating that this was the first to arrive. Whereupon he drew back his hand, and out came his brother. Then she said, "What a breach you have opened for yourself." So he was named Perez. Then his brother came out with the scarlet thread on his hand, so he was named Zerah. Joseph's early days in Egypt. Now Joseph had been taken down into Egypt. Potiphar, the Egyptian, one of Pharaoh's officials and commander of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. Yahweh was with Joseph, and everything he undertook was successful. He lodged in the house of his Egyptian master, and when his master saw how Yahweh was with him, and how Yahweh made everything he undertook successful, he was pleased with Joseph and made him his personal attendant. And his master put him in charge of his household, entrusting him with all his possessions. And from the time he put him in charge of his household and all his possessions, Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's household out of consideration for Joseph. Yahweh's blessing extended to all his possessions, both household and estate. So he left Joseph to handle all his possessions, and with him there concerned himself with nothing beyond the food he ate. The attempt to seduce Joseph. Now Joseph was well built and handsome, and it happened some time later that his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph and said, "Sleep with me." But he refused. "Look," he said to his master's wife, "with me here, my master does not concern himself with what happens in the house. Having entrusted all his possessions to me, he himself wields no more authority in this house than I do. He has exempted nothing from me except yourself, because you are his wife. How could I do anything so wicked and sin against God?" Although she spoke to Joseph day after day, he would not agree to sleep with her or be with her. But one day, when Joseph came into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the household happened to be indoors, she got hold of him by his tunic and said, "Sleep with me." But he left the tunic in her hand, took to his heels, and got out. When she saw that she had left the tunic in her hands as she ran out, she called her servants and said to them, "Look at this. My husband brought in a Hebrew to make a fool out of me. He burst in on me, but I screamed, and when he heard me scream, he left his tunic behind me and ran out of the house. She kept his tunic by her until his master came home. Then she told him the same tale. The Hebrew slave he brought to us burst in on me to make a fool of me, but when I screamed, he left his tunic beside me and ran away. When his master heard his wife say, "This is how your slave treated me," he became furious. Joseph's master had him arrested and committed to the gaol, where the king's prisoners were kept. Joseph and Gal. And there in Gal he stayed, but Yahweh was with Joseph. He showed him faithful love and made him popular with chief gaoler. The chief gaoler put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners in the gaol, making him responsible for everything done there. The chief gaoler did not bother about putting uh, did not bother about anything put in his charge, since Yahweh was with him and Yahweh made everything he undertook successful.